It is August 2nd, 2014, and I'd like to talk a little bit about some hydrangea, specifically Hydrangea arborescens, which is the type of hydrangea that's hardy up in here in Minnesota in Zone 3 that has the rounded blossoms. So we are not going to be talking about this type of hydrangea down here, which as you can see has that cone-shaped blossom. That's called Hydrangea paniculata. That's a subject of another review. What I want to talk about are these, the big white-flowered, and in this case pink-flowered hydrangea that belong to the family Hydrangea arborescens. They act more like a perennial than a shrub in the sense that every winter they die back somewhat, and it's actually best to cut them back to about 6 inches every spring and let them come up, and they will bloom every year. Do you cut them in the fall? I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world, but the more foliage you have to collect snow and to collect leaves just helps to protect the base of the plant from the ravages of our Minnesota winters. So in this bed, we've planted several different named varieties of hydrangea. In this first one, I didn't even sell this spring because I thought it was a bummer. It's called Invincible Spirit. And when it first came out, it was heavily promoted as the first pink of this type of hydrangea. Now the hydrangeas that you see in Better Homes and Gardens, those beautiful pink and blue large flowered hydrangeas, just don't work up here in northern Minnesota because they need to bloom on old wood, but they die to the ground, so they don't have any old wood to bloom on. So even if it survives, it will never bloom. This type will, and this is the very first pink one. Anytime you have a first, there's bound to be some weaknesses, so it's not perfect. The blossoms don't last forever, and they fade to kind of an unsightly brown color, but I'm actually pretty impressed with how they're doing this year. They've filled in as plants, and they're doing fairly well. The next hydrangea is Annabelle. And Annabelle is by far the most common of this variety of hydrangea. And as you can see, it has quite large heads and these big floppy leaves. Here it's growing in what I have to call full sun. Typically, these are used in shadier conditions just because they will tolerate such conditions, but they'll also tolerate sun. Someone from Grand Forks the other day told me she was walking around her neighborhood and she saw them on the north, the east, the west, and the south side of houses. The only thing I would say is that in the hottest of dry sun, these leaves might scorch a bit. Also, if there's hot sun and wind, they wouldn't take that as well. So kind of a sheltered area is what they like. So these are doing pretty well. However, moving down the row, this is a new, improved, supposedly, version of hydrangea called Incrediball. And holy mackerel, they are pretty incredible. They are, I don't know what to say, huge blossoms. They're taller. I would say these are about 4 feet tall. I got to back up to fit them all in the camera. This is 3 plants here in a group. And wow, I'm definitely favorably impressed with these so far.